It's April 2019, and a 17-year-old Sh1ro, alongside a Gambit youngsters roster picked up just 2 weeks prior, decide to travel to Copenhagen Games to give themselves a chance at making the event. And boy did it pay off for them, with this mind-bending 1v4 from Sh1ro putting him on the map as one of the hottest prospects in the region.
Find his frag in a pit. Oh my god, he gets the wall bang!
This was coincidentally one of the first tournaments I had commentated at. And even though I was really impressed by Sh1ro, I was somewhat skeptical that his passive style could transfer to top-level gameplay. However, Sh1ro has clearly proven that he can have huge impact despite his passive playstyle.
The footsteps, Sh1ro. Can he pull this off? A miraculous 1 versus 4!
But let's rewind a little, because Gambit youngsters were never even meant to make it to this point in the tournament. Before we get into the video, I'm really proud of this one, and because I use copyrighted music, I'm not making any money on it. So the least you can do if you enjoy is subscribe, try and help me get to my goal of 100,000 subs by the end of 2021, and let's get into it. Gambit youngsters hadn't played a single official game on HLTV, and so were unranked going into this event. Hell, Sh1ro's last recorded HLTV game before this tournament was over 5 months ago, back in 2018. And so, as a largely unknown team at the time, the CIS squad weren't invited to the event and decided to travel all the way to Denmark off their own backs to play in the LAN qualifier. They finished second in their group, losing against the 159th ranked in the world Monarchs, which meant heading into the playoffs, they didn't have a great seed. And so their draw in the second round of the playoffs of the qualifier was a hard one. They went up against the 4th highest ranked team in the qualifier and number 79th ranked team in the world, SJ, spearheaded by a young and hungry Yampy. By all accounts, this is where the unranked and unknown Gambit youngsters should have been sent home, but Sh1ro had other ideas. Sh1ro and the Gambit youngsters overcame the odds to beat SJ 2-1. And thanks to Sh1ro's outstanding 32 for 10 scoreline on Overpass and 21 for 7 scoreline on Mirage, he was able to end the series as the highest rated player over Yampi and Axile. This series was a sign of things to come from Sh1ro, who ended with only 29 deaths on all 3 maps. The next closest on the server was his teammate Axile, who died 43 times. They may have beaten the rising talent in Yampi, but Gambit youngsters had one more game to win to make the main event. And this time, it was against the number 96 ranked in the world Godsent, featuring legendary Swedish IGL Pronax and some young and up-and-coming players in Disco Dopplan and Plopsky. This was probably the highest pressure game any of these Gambit youngsters teenagers had played up until this point, but Sh1ro proved he was going to shine under the pressure. After a grueling day of CS, starting at 10 AM and playing all the way through until midnight local time, Gambit youngsters had qualified to the main event. Sh1ro somehow managed an even better performance than in the prior best of 3, dropping a 1.69 rating and totaling 59 kills over the 2 maps played. Their reward was to go back to the hotel, get some rest, and get ready for games starting at 10 AM tomorrow against top 50 ranked teams in the world. This proved to be one step too far for Gambit youngsters, who are unable to win a game in their group in the main tournament, crashing out in last place and taking home $1,500 for all that hard work. But even making it to the main event was a win in their eyes. This was 5 largely unknown teenagers picked out by a veteran coach Finn from Face It and from Pugs, with Axile only joining the lineup quite recently, and more valuable than the prize money was putting themselves on the map for future tournaments, and they did exactly that, especially with that Sh1ro clutch. This was the spark that ignited Gambit to stick together, continue to work their way up through the tournaments with this same core of 4 teenagers. They went to a couple of other smaller LANs before grinding online tournaments throughout 2020, eventually making it towards DreamHacks before culminating in a win at Katowice and the number 3 ranking in the world. You can say what you want about the online era, about whether you think they deserve to be number 3, about whether they can continue this level of form at LANs. But through the highs and lows, the rough results and hard decisions, the highlight plays and hard work, you can't discount the effort they've put in, and you can never take this journey away from them.